The power of communication and spiritual medicine. There is an abundance of knowledge in the world, but one must acquire the knowledge necessary for living. What is the most essential knowledge for living? It is understanding how to treat the people we meet, recognizing the nature of our relationships, what we should share with them, and what help they provide to us. We must grasp this principle. The saying goes, do not treat the person before you carelessly. There is also the saying, the person before you is your Buddha. But instead of truly understanding this, people merely use these words superficially. Everything you need is in the person before you. That is why the person in front of you is your Buddha. If you have a smooth conversation with the person in front of you, the energy you need will naturally flow toward you. When you sincerely engage in conversation, you provide the other person with the energy they need, and everything else will take care of itself. However, if communication is blocked, difficulties will arise. For example, if you have children and your conversations with them become entangled, leading to frustration, hardships will follow. Likewise, if you are given siblings and conversations with them become complicated, challenges will arise. All difficulties stem from communication. When people meet, they must know how to converse. There is no such thing as a meaningful relationship without communication. And this conversation must be conducted properly. If you do not know the other person well, simply listen to them attentively. As you listen, the words you should say will naturally come to you. This is the fundamental principle of conversation. If you master the art of communication, your energy will flow properly, and everything you need will come to you. Do not be selective. When someone speaks to you, listen to them with an intelligent and open mind. By doing so, you will naturally compensate for your shortcomings. Nature provides your environment to teach you. It gives you relationships to fill in your deficiencies. If you dismiss, disregard, or approach people with bias, you will miss the lessons you need, leading to difficulties. Even when someone seems to be doing something wrong, there is a reason behind their actions. However, if you reject or condemn them outright, you will fail to receive what you should, leading to hardships later. Even harsh words and criticism from others may contain lessons essential for your growth. People may make mistakes, but they also do good things. Life presents a mixture of both, accept it. When we struggle, life provides us with medicine. What kind of medicine? The words people say to us. This is our medicine. For instance, when things are going well for me, my employees simply follow my instructions without giving me any feedback. But when I face difficulties, they begin to correct me, saying, "Boss, you shouldn't do that." Often, they are right, but I find their words unpleasant. I may even scold them. But in reality, these words are a form of powerful medicine. When I was in control, they followed orders without question. But when I became weaker, they began to voice their opinions. This is life providing me with medicine. It is not about blindly accepting every word spoken to you, but about reflecting deeply on those words. Do not lose your sense of dignity, but digest what is being said. If words have reached your ears, take them in and consider them. That is your spiritual medicine. When we are sick or struggling, we must first take in this spiritual medicine to strengthen our soul's energy. By enhancing the quality of our soul's energy, we can then heal the material energy within our physical body. However, if we neglect to cultivate our spiritual strength and only rely on physical remedies, our weak spiritual energy will bring pain back again. If we continuously focus only on healing the body while allowing the soul to wither, our energy will diminish. As time passes, the suffering will only intensify because we lack the spiritual strength to endure. In other words, we will lose our immunity. At first, when people give us advice, it may simply annoy us. But as time goes on, if we frequently hear such words, it indicates that we are growing weaker. When we are seriously ill, we receive an abundance of this spiritual medicine. Even friends who once quietly listened to us may now try to correct us. If this begins to irritate you, it is a sign that you are approaching a serious breakdown. There are two types of energy: spiritual medicine and physical medicine. Physical medicine is material, spiritual medicine is immaterial. Since our soul is immaterial, it requires immaterial nourishment to gain strength. There are both material and non-material energies. Physical medicine can heal wounds and treat illnesses in the body. But to heal the soul, we must take in spiritual medicine. This comes in the form of people's words. It is not God's words but human words that act as our medicine. What I am teaching now is a stream of spiritual medicine. You did not know this before, so learn it now. I will teach you in a way you can understand, pouring out this spiritual energy. This is energy. For humans, the most crucial energy is proper knowledge, which acts as spiritual medicine. Therefore, never be lazy in acquiring knowledge. Does acquiring knowledge mean reading books? No, the time for book learning has passed. Books are supplementary. What is important now is listening to the spoken words of those with wisdom and experience. A single word from a person with true knowledge can have a profound impact. This is something that cannot be bought with money. If you have someone in your life who provides this wisdom, their words are priceless. You must study. If you close your mouth for 100 days and listen diligently to these teachings, your discernment will change. The way you perceive words will transform. The highest form of learning is to remain silent and absorb. This is the supreme form of study. The more you can keep your mouth closed and take in knowledge, the better. Absorb these teachings completely, and your environment will change. Your skin will change. Your health will improve. When your skin changes and your health improves, you will radiate a new glow to others. You may not see the change in yourself, but others will notice it. The power of communication and spiritual medicine. Summary. 1. Essential knowledge for life. 1. True knowledge is not just about having information but understanding how to interact with people. 2. Every person we meet has something valuable to offer. 3. The way we treat and communicate with others determines our success and well-being. 2. The importance of communication. 1. Life challenges often come from poor communication. 2. If we fail to communicate well with our children, family, or colleagues, difficulties will follow. 3. A proper conversation requires listening first. When we listen carefully, the right words will naturally come to us. 3. Accepting people and learning from them. 1. Do not judge or dismiss people. 2. Every person, even those who criticize or challenge us, carries a lesson we need. 3. When we reject others, we lose opportunities for growth and face hardships later. 4. Words as spiritual medicine. 1. When we struggle, life gives us medicine through people's words. 2. If things are going well, others may not correct us, but when we face hardship, people start offering advice. This is a form of healing. 3. Instead of getting annoyed or rejecting such words, we should reflect on them and take what is useful. 5. Strengthening the soul before the body. 1. Our body and soul both need healing, but the soul must be strengthened first. 2. Physical medicine, material healing, treats the body, but spiritual medicine, wisdom and advice, heals the soul. 3. If we only focus on physical healing while neglecting our soul, pain will return, and our energy will weaken over time. 6. The value of learning from others. 1. Knowledge is not just from books, it comes from listening to wise people. 2. A single word from a knowledgeable person can have a greater impact than any book. 3. The best way to learn is to listen more and speak less, absorbing wisdom like a sponge. 7. Transformation through knowledge. 1. When we truly take in wisdom, our mindset, environment, and even our physical health will change. 2. Our appearance and energy will improve, making us more radiant to others. 3. Self-improvement starts with listening, learning, and applying wisdom in daily life. Right finger key message. By mastering communication and accepting wisdom from others, we can grow spiritually, overcome hardships, and live a healthier, more fulfilling life. I wrote the story based on the above article. Shining Conversations. Lee Young-woo was once a successful businessman. His company thrived, and his employees followed his words without question. However, as his business began to falter, the atmosphere around him changed. The employees who once flattered him started to change their attitudes, and even his most trusted right-hand man began to offer cautious advice. "Sir, you seem to be making decisions too independently these days. Perhaps it would help to listen to your employees' opinions. The moment Yung-woo heard those words, he felt a fire ignite within him. How dare they advise me? After everything I've built? He began to distance himself from employees who dared to speak up, eventually firing many of them. However, as time passed, his business continued to decline, and in the end, his company went bankrupt. Having lost everything, he returned to his hometown. Away from the towering skyscrapers of Seoul, he sat in the courtyard of his childhood home, staring blankly at a lone tree. His mind felt empty. Just then, his old friend Kong Min paid him a visit and said, "Yung-woo, you used to be such a good listener. When did you start closing your ears? Are you trying to lecture me too?" "No, I'm just curious. Every word people say has a reason. Especially when you're struggling, the words of those around you shouldn't be ignored. They're worth thinking about." Yung-woo sighed. If only I had listened earlier. He realized that when things were going well, no one dared to correct him. But when he started to fall, only then did people gather the courage to offer advice. Sipping tea with Kong Min, he asked, "So what do I do now?" Kong Min smiled and said, "Start by listening. No matter what is said, take it in. The more painful the words, the more important they are." From that day on, Yung-woo began to change. He opened a small shop in his hometown and started talking to customers. But instead of asserting his opinions, he focused on listening to their stories. He found lessons in their words. One day, an elderly customer told him, "There's an invisible energy that flows between people. When communication is smooth, energy flows freely. When it's blocked, life becomes difficult." For some reason, those words resonated deeply with him. As he walked home, he reflected, "My downfall wasn't about money. I lost my ability to communicate. I cut off my connections with people." Gradually, he opened his heart to those around him, and his small shop became increasingly popular. He listened to his customers' concerns and accepted their advice. And naturally, his life began to move forward again. A few years later, he returned to Seoul, but this time with a new mindset. He was no longer the same rigid man he once was. Using the lessons he had learned from his failures, he started a new business. He respected his employees' opinions and aimed to build a company where growth happened through communication. One day, an employee hesitantly approached him and said, "Sir, have you considered this alternative approach for the project?" In the past, he would have dismissed such a suggestion. But now, he smiled and said, "That's a great idea. Let's discuss it further." At that moment, he realized something. His old self would have never said those words. But now, he understood the power of conversation. And he knew that this was the most important knowledge in life. Words have power. Those who listen and embrace them will ultimately grow.